Richard, is there anything you want to come in there? Because I think those last points that Alex raised is exactly, the key reason why we kind of put the conference together, isn't it?
I think you put it very well there, Alex. It's that gap, isn't it, between the firm that you think you've got to have and the firm that you actually want. And understanding, first of all, that the firm that you actually want is almost certainly still achievable if actually you focus on that as opposed to the one that you think you've got to have. And this whole concept of stories has always fascinated me because there are so many different levels to it, aren't there? You've talked there about the story behind the person, the story behind the firm. And I think when we talk about team engagement, for instance, too often the leaders of the firm, the owners of the firm, have not engaged the team in their story. They just see the person who goes to work between 8 and 6 in the morning, and 6 at night, whatever it may be. They don't know the previous 40, 50 years. They don't know the journey they've been on. They don't know the things that drive them. And I think once you actually start to introduce those sorts of conversations, we all see everybody in a different light, don't we? Once the number of times you talk to an accountant and think, I had no idea that's what you loved, or I had no idea that's what you did, or that you'd had that, that time in your life. And it's such a powerful thing. And yet we keep it locked behind cupboard doors, don't we?
We do. And it's fascinating, isn't it? Because we only see part stories of so many things. And actually, as you're saying, seeing different stories, what we're talking about really is a perspective and changing perspective. So yes, if you want to take your team with you and change the culture of your team or adapt it, for instance, to a more digital one or to a way how you're involving advisory in what you're doing, then it is about wrapping around like, actually, what story are we telling ourselves? And sometimes we get stuck in the things like we have to do it this way. And that's the way it's always been done. And that's the kind of firm we are, because we have been like that for 50 years. But sometimes, and especially recently, and this is something that I've certainly used in what I've done, and when using different integrations and automations as well, is going, well, what worked then doesn't necessarily work now. Or let's stress test it and see, is that our story right now? And could we change it? Could this be different? And big companies have done this and really changed. They've been very focused on their mission, been very focused on their values, and it's easy to get led astray from that, or even not have updated it to what you really want it to be. So that's what we're going to be having a look at.
I think as well, when you unlock the stories, that's when you unlock the energy, isn't it? Because storytelling is all about emotion. And it's something that when we're just looking at the numbers are integral to what we do as accountants. That's where our stories come from, and certainly is it's what we build our client relationships upon. It's why people come to us in the first place. But there's not a lot of emotion in the numbers, but it's the story that you build on that, isn't it? That creates that emotion, and with that emotion you get the drive and the commitment and the energy and all the things that actually we need, and our teams need, and our clients need, if we're all going to be successful. We can't just do it in a mechanical way, can we? And I think it's getting people to see that link between head and heart, between the information and the data and the stories that are behind them and the numbers themselves.
Absolutely, because it can even get to the point of how engaged your team are with the work you're doing. Because if you're sat there processing something on Dext or and you're going along, that person almost to have a bigger idea of what impact that has on the business, and not just the business, the people in the business, and have their wider story of how having the accounts, getting funding, managing all the things that you've had to deal with in the last couple of years, for instance. That isn't just a case of numbers, it's people's lives. And I don't know about you, but I've not yet met an accountant who hasn't wanted to be involved in people's lives and their business, as well as, and that's why they do the numbers.
Yeah, exactly that. And I think that's a great sense of the sort of conversations and the sort of energy that I know we will bring out on this conference, because it's about that. When we talk about accountants, we're talking about people who deal with people. We're talking about people who want to have a positive influence around, on the people, on just on their own families, on their teams, especially on their clients. And it's that, isn't it? It's not. It's seen as such a dry profession, and it's anything but when you start going down this route.
Absolutely agree.
Yeah. Yes, anything but a dry profession, certainly at conferences. Bomb. Never miss an open goal.